Internet pals, welcome back to my channel today. We're doing a video inspired by the stuff in my collection that I just don't reach for anymore. It's insane how much stuff I seem to accrue, and I forget about the things that I loved when I first started doing makeup. So today I pulled all those goodies out of my drawers and I'm sharing them with you today. I also threw in a couple of things that are newer but I just don't hear anybody talking about. So if you want to see how I achieve this look and what I used to get there, spoiler alert, it's a lot of Makeup Geek, then just keep watching. So for priming lately, I've just been using the Prep and Prime, so I'm just gonna spritz my face. I feel like this kind of fell out of, not fashion, but people weren't really talking about it as much. It's trying to make a comeback right now, so I've just been using a little bit of that. And then for foundation, I've been using a couple of foundations that people don't really chat about much anymore either. The L'Oreal True Match Lumi and the Tarte Rainforest of the Sea. This is still kind of being spoken about, but I feel like a lot of other foundations have come out and kind of taken over it. The reason why I mix them, so high maintenance, I feel like this one thickens it up, but it's not quite the right undertone. It's like very pink, and this has a nicer shade for my skin tone, and it's a little bit thinner and the color's a little bit better. So I've just been taking them, mixing them on the back of my hand, and then just slapping them on. Sometimes I'll use a beauty blender, but mine's really dirty right now, so I'm just gonna grab a brush. This is the Face Buffer Brush by Makeup Geek. I feel like no one talks about Makeup Geek hardly ever anymore, and I'm actually going to use a bunch of Makeup Geek products because Makeup Geek was what got me into YouTube, and her products were some of the first that I bought, and I really love them still, and I feel like no one talks about them. So that was kind of the inspiration for this video. I saw a thread on Reddit somewhere that was talking about like makeup people don't really talk about anymore, and Makeup Geek made the list because that's the first thing that I thought of when I saw that. So this is a decent coverage mixture. I'd say probably a good medium, certainly not full, but it's a little bit more coverage than say like the Glossier Skin Tint, which I've been using here or there. No one ever talks about this concealer, and I think this is great. This is the Catrice Cosmetics Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer in shade Light, I believe. Oh no, this is Porcelain. I never hear anyone talking about this. I think KathleenLights may have put me onto this, but this is a really nice, like pretty decent coverage concealer. So I'm just gonna use that kind of in all these different places where I still have some redness or some darkness, and around the nose especially. So for those bigger areas, I'll just take this buffing brush by Real Techniques. And then to really get in there, I'm gonna use the Sigma brush. This is a soft blend concealer brush. This is another thing. Everyone's always talking about their Morphe brushes, which I definitely love. I have some that I really like by Morphe, but Sigma used to be like the jam. Everybody had Sigma, and that was all anybody ever used. And now I never hear about it. Before I set everything down, I'm just gonna use a little Prep and Prime primer for my eyes. Sometimes I find that I need to kind of buff that because it gets a little, like you can see where it's settled. To set all that in place, I'm going to use this Too Faced Born This Way translucent powder. I feel like no one really talks about this either. I really like this powder. I think it does a really nice job of setting everything down. With some of my concealers, I do find that it shifts the color like a smidgen. But overall, I really like this powder. I like to use it mostly with my beauty blender under my eyes. I really should have washed it. But I just like couldn't be bothered. So I use it to set my eyes, both under and on the lid, and then I take it right on the nose because I find that I have a lot of problems keeping my nose in place, and the chin because I'm a chin toucher. Then I'm going to grab a big fluffy brush, this is by ShanXO, and just hit the bigger areas of the face. So lately, for whatever reason, I've been kind of doing my face before finishing my eyes, so I'm going to jump in with the Charlotte Tilbury Filmstar Bronze and Glow. This is another thing no one ever talks about anymore, but I love it if you can't tell. The bronzer is stunning, and the highlighter is extremely natural. It's really light, and I like it on days that I don't want as much of a highlight, if I just want a really soft, like kind of daily glow. But this bronzer is like awesome. It just adds the right amount of color, and it's not too warm, not too cool. This is not a contour powder by any stretch. This is definitely a bronzer. I would never use it to contour for my skin tone. So I'm gonna hit the forehead a little bit, because depending on how the bangs want to be, you might see a little forehead. It's always nice to have a little warmth up there. Giving myself a mild helmet up there, so just gonna grab my foundation brush again, kind of blend that out a little bit. I want to throw a contour, a little bit of it on there just to kind of chisel the cheekbones. And for that, I'm going to use this Makeup Geek contour powder in Breakup, which is Cool Porcelain. I'm just going to take my XO Beauty brush and just kind of hit right in that cheekbone area just to add a little bit of definition to the face. For blush today, I'm going to use Spellbound, also by Makeup Geek, just a nice light pink. Just add a little bit of color. And then this is really the product that got me thinking about products no one talks about, and this is the Makeup Geek KathleenLights highlighter palette. I'm obsessed with this. I use this all the time and no one ever talks about it. Kathleen never talks about it. Makeup Geek never talks about it, which I think is really weird because they're gorgeous. They look really dark in the pan. This one I never use on my skin tone, but these two I use all the time. What I usually like to do is kind of mix them. I'll go back and forth and tap off, and then I just pop it right on the cheekbone, and it adds like the most metallic to me. Like when I want to highlight, this is what I put on. Like it's so metallic and shiny. This is business time. And I'm obsessed, like, and no one talks about it ever. This is the highlight I wear when I like want to beam in a picture. Like this is outrageous for every day. Do I really need this? No. Do I want it? Yes. And then to melt all of those products together, I hit with my Prep and Prime one more time. For eyes today, I want to go a little bit more colorful. I feel like I never do that, especially on a day-to-day basis. So I'm going to pull out my trusty Makeup Geek eyeshadows. Again, this is like kind of turned into a Makeup Geek heavy video, but I just feel like no one's talking about them. So I wanted to use them today. So I'm just going to start with the shade up here just to kind of set the lid. This is Purely Naked. Just going to add a little warmth in the crease too. The next shadow I'm going to go in with is a duochrome by Makeup Geek called Blacklight. It is like a purpley blue shift, and it's one of the prettiest eyeshadows I own. So I'm going to pop that all over the lid, and then grab a clean, fluffy blender brush and just hit the top near the crease. And that is like the most beautiful. I love this eyeshadow. People also don't talk about the Evil Subculture palette, which I use like kind of regularly. I really like this palette. So I'm gonna grab this color Cube in the inner corner right here. It's like it looks kind of light in the pan, but it's actually pretty pinky once you pop it on the skin. Just adds this like really cool, reflective little pinky situation here. It's so cool. I'm then gonna grab this shade All Star. It's like a maroony color, just very gently dipping in because these are pure pigments, don't forget. And I'm gonna use this mirror actually. Just get nice and close to that lash line. See, it's like crazy pigmented. You barely have to do anything to it to get the color that you want. That pigmentation is not playing, which I kind of love. I'm also going to pop that on the top lash line here. Just going to take a brush and just start to blend that out. I'm actually going to grab a smidge more of that color on a fluffier brush and just really focus out on the outside corner there. Just kind of place it, and then I'm going to take my fluffy brush, my other one, my cleaner one, just kind of blend out the product. I barely tapped my brush, and that's the amount of pigmentation you get with these eyeshadows. There's a little bit of fallout, but because we powdered, we can just sweep it away, no problem. In all that blending, I feel like we lost a little bit of the duochrome, so I'm just gonna pop that back on there. Gonna go in now with mascara, and something I don't hear anyone talking about is the Clinique Bottom Lash Mascara, which I love. So I usually just hit my lashes with a single coat of that. This is the tiniest little one. And this is by no means unloved, the Lash Paradise Mascara. But of course, you know, other mascaras come along and take away the prestige of a former mascara. So I used a different one for a little bit. Now I'm back on this train because this eyeliner is amazing. I mean, eyeliner mascara. The next product I want to talk about is a little bit of a hidden gem, in my opinion. It is the Sephora waterproof retractable brow pencil. This is in the shade Soft Charcoal. I lost the cap on this end, but they have like this little brush. It's not my favorite brush in the world, but The eyeliner pencil itself, or eyeliner, the brow pencil itself, can you tell I haven't had enough coffee, is really nice. It's the perfect consistency in my opinion. Like the Anastasia one, I don't know if I ever just like got a bad one, but they really felt stiff to me, like not as creamy. And then on the other end, I think I had like an over pencil that was like too creamy. But this to me is like the perfect consistency. It lasts all day, and my friend who put me onto this, she does her brows with this every day, and they always look so natural. It doesn't look like a fake drawn on brow. The consistency of this pencil is just perfect. So to me, this is like the greatest brow. I don't know what it is. It's just the perfect pencil. And I use this pretty often. And finally, something no one ever talks about, the Essence Make Me Brow. This is in the shade Browny Brows. Such a nice gel that the applicator is comparable to like a Gimme Brow. I don't think it has like little fibers in it. I think they try to claim that, but I don't think that's true. I think there is a little bit of a tint, so some days when I'm being extra lazy and I don't want to put anything in my brows, sometimes I'll just throw a little bit of this stuff in. And it adds a little bit of color, a little bit of shape, but this is such a killer combo. All right, and finally, lips. I have a few things. I have a Makeup Geek Plush Matte in Beach Bunny, and then I have a couple of these Rimmel Show Off lip colors that no one talks about anymore. I don't even know if you can still buy them. I think these might be too bright. Like I'm already pretty bright in the eyes, so I think I'm gonna stick with this one. It's a little bit more muted. It's like a definitely more, it's a peachy color, but it's a little bit less bright. I think the key with this formula is that you just want a really, really thin layer. When I first was applying it, I was putting on just like way too much. All right, you guys, that is the finished look. This was unintentionally extremely Makeup Geek heavy, but I do think that we can't forget about the OGs. I love Makeup Geek, and there's so many products that they've come out with recently that I just haven't gotten because there's so many other releases coming out. I feel like we're so oversaturated with new releases, and it's exciting, but it's just so hard to keep up. Like I used to be able to buy Makeup Geek stuff as it came out, and now I couldn't even tell you what the latest thing they've released is because things are just coming out like so quickly. But anyways, I hope that this inspires you to pull out things in your collection that you may have kind of forgotten about and that you're not using as often. Fall back in love with your collection. You don't have to keep buying the same eyeshadows over and over and over again. I can guarantee you probably have them already in your collection. I'll leave all my links down below. I have a blog, I have an Instagram, I've got a Facebook. If you want to follow me on any of those, I'll leave them down below. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.